done. Intro. It's intro time. Shush. Everyone shut up. What's going on, all you main characters? Welcome back to a third-party podcast. It is me, Talks Too Much. I am here, as always, with my co-host, the Cody.
What's up?
And we got Slim.
Hi.
He's not wearing a red jumper this week.
No, it's hot out today.
It is freaking hot out.
T-shirt.
No
Why
shite.
is this supposed to be storming all weekend and I haven't heard anything
I
yet?
know,
Yeah,
right?
there hasn't been a single raindrop that hit the ground. Not a single raindrop hit the ground. Dude, my week, I watched the Green Book this week with Viggo Mortensen. I actually really I loved the movie throughout, but the payoff at the end was very, very short. There was almost no payoff at the end of the movie. It's like, oh, he overcame racism.
Yay.
Done. It's over.
It's fixed. We
did
can stop
it.
talking about
We
it
fixed
now.
racisms. We fixed the sisms. What have you been up to this week, Cody?
Not a
Spursh?
whole lot. Same old.
Yeah?
Really. Just a bunch of Star Wars stuff.
Honestly, I'm really excited to get into Star Wars this week because the Acolyte is just the fountain that never stops giving when it comes to like
a giver.
Yeah, just breakout stories. I mean, it's not the only thing it can't give us is good storytelling, but it gives us plenty of fun memes to react to and stuff.
I did start watching The House That Dragons Built. It's the behind the scenes.
Yeah,
It's actually really
House
good.
That Dragon, though. That's a good name. I
Yeah.
like that.
All right.
so like obviously it's like the House of the Dragons like breakdown of the shows and stuff. Or it's like,
Yeah, it's behind the scenes of every episode. Every episode's like a half hour, just breaking it down, like sets, costumes, how the logistics of getting like certain scenes done and whatnot.
There's never been like a movie or a show that I've really cared about like the director's stuff for, except maybe Lord of the Rings. But
Yeah, I mean, you got like 8 hours of behind the scenes footage for that.
yeah, it's ridiculous. What about you, Slim? Life keeping you busy? Enjoyed your stream the other night.
Yeah, I streamed this weekend. Played a bunch of video games.
Video games.
Were
you
you-
texted me at
moved.
10:30 last night?
I was,
Siege?
I was
Like,
ready
no,
to jam, dude.
Were you surprised that
I was
Rainbow
up till
Six?
6 o'clock the other day.
Were you surprised that Rainbow Six Siege was not cross-platform between like PC players couldn't play with console players?
Well, I wasn't. Because PCs just have such a leg up with mouse and keyboard. But if you enable it, why not?
Yeah.
Right.
If
It's
you
not
can
like you're playing
disable it
ranked.
and then you know how to deal with it, or you can enable it and just who cares?
For people listening, we were playing X Defiant, and we got so pissed off at X Defiant the game. We all rage quit. We were just playing for fun because we were just trying to force a good time.
To enjoy it.
Yeah, we gave. Holy shit, did we give them everything we had as far as trying to make this shit work.
If I put like 8 hours into your game, all right, it's enough.
It's a fair shot.
Yeah.
I think I have
know what
14
it's
hours
about.
in that game now.
I wonder if I would enjoy that game more if it had a campaign. Because Call of Duty, I always play through the campaigns in Call of Duty first.
Yeah.
And then I go into multiplayer, and I'm always just dumbfounded how bad players are.
Right, because they hop straight into multiplayer.
They hop straight into multiplayer, learn
Yep.
no basic skills, learn nothing. And I get into multiplayer and tend to kick ass until give it 2 years, and then people develop a meta that I don't like.
Yep.
And then you've been gone for a year and then try to get back into it.
It's
Yep.
unplayable. So we gave X Defiant a fair shot. And was it your call to try out Rainbow Six
Yeah.
Siege? Yeah.
Well,
Well,
it came up when we were playing X Defiant because they added a group from Siege.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, they're DLC.
Yep.
And you actually tried to get it, and they wouldn't let you.
And they wouldn't let me. I tried to give them my money, and they wouldn't take it
You were
because it wouldn't load.
It was the please take my money meme.
Yeah, I tried,
Well, you weren't
but it
even that
wouldn't
excited
load,
about
so
it.
I couldn't buy it. And then I'm like, this game is so bad, it doesn't even want my money. They're like, no.
And I wanted to. So first off, I was never good at Rainbow Six Siege, and there was like 4 years before I wanted to try to get back into Rainbow Six Siege. Mithras and Slim tried to talk me into playing, and I was on board with that. But the base game on console at the time had no sales. It was a full $60 game, and I had not played on console anything for like 2-3 years. So I had to buy Xbox Live again, and I was like, okay, we're going to play this full time. I'm going to get the best bang for my dollar. I'll buy the full year. So I spent $120 to play Rainbow Six Siege twice. I
Could have stuck with it.
Well, I honestly, it was not a game I wanted to play solo. There's so many other games I'd rather play above Rainbow Six Siege, and it wasn't a game I was trying to develop a skill on or something
Yeah, I mean,
like that.
the game's going on its 9th year, and just now they're going to start introducing cross-platform with PC.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Oh.
When that update comes out, I'll probably play. I mean, I would love to play. It's
played
just
last
they
night.
won't let me.
It's the last year they're updating it, so
That's no surprise. This game was huge pro scene, and it's lasted a lot longer than I thought it would.
Yeah, that's true.
But
Well,
people still love it.
So then we obviously went over to Rainbow Six Siege, discovered that PC players cannot play with console players,
unfortunate.
which meant I was not going to be allowed to play. So I just played speedrunners and listened to you guys
Yeah,
have
we're
fun.
screaming in the back.
Having a good time. I don't think I got mad once at that game. I had a really good time.
That's the thing. Like, a game should be fun. Like, I don't know what it is about X Defiant that just triggers me so freaking
Well,
much.
it helps when you just like dominate your first game in there after
Yeah.
being away
Yeah.
for years.
Well, I think the problem with
Because I got like a
X
3-cap or
Defiant-
something in the first game.
Yeah, we both had really good couple games there. But like, I think the problem with X Defiant,
It had no skill-based matchmaking.
well, that is an issue. I think of its own thing, but the latency is so bad.
Yeah.
I'm
All of
constantly
us have
dying
been
behind
around
rocks.
corners,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I shoot a guy 3 or 4 times, and it shows on his screen like I hit him once. He's still like 88 HP. It's like I hit you 4 times on my screen. Well, it's because the latency isn't lined up, and it's just kills a game.
Well, and honest, I didn't notice as much of that when we were playing the early access.
I
So
didn't either.
I feel like either the servers got so
Dumpstered
infested,
on, yeah.
or they did something
They're
in
just
the
so
most.
full that they can't keep up. Is my guess.
But can I I'm making a plea to the audience. I'm like, can you guys in the comments like let us know what was the case for getting rid of skill-based matchmaking? Like, because in our games we played, we were level like 30 on average. I think.
28.
Yeah.
I'm in the
28
teens
in
yet.
the low 30s. And
Yeah.
we
I'm
played
still a
against
minor in
guys
that
who were like
game.
180. It's like
Yeah, there was.
we played a game where all 5 of us on our team were combined a lower level than one of their guys.
Yeah.
And he's just b-hopping, and I couldn't even kill the dude.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Jumping is the way to survive in that game.
Like, it is.
We've talked about, so obviously we had done live streams on our channel where we played X Defiant before, and we talked about the perks and all the things that X Defiant was going to do that was going to make it great. I can't remember if I ever made the case for why skill-based matchmaking was good or bad. So if you guys in the comments let us know if we missed this or if there's actually a strong case for having gotten rid of skill-based matchmaking. Did Call of Duty do so bad with it that this was what we deserve? I don't know.
Maybe if you're in a party with a one that's super high and then like a new guy kind of fucks up the matchmaking. I don't really.
Yeah,
know,
I mean,
but I
I'm
can't think of a negative thing really about skill-based matchmaking.
I can't either, because honestly, if I understand what it is well enough, then it's just supposed to balance out the playing field. Maybe that increased the wait times because it was always trying to match you with people, or maybe it just
Yeah.
did a bad job, and so they just said, we don't want this anymore. I don't know.
It's a free for all.
I would rather have long wait times than the games that we had.
It's easier for our devs to just not put it in.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. We probably didn't need the extra year extension then, but but okay, so we're going to jump into our first story of the day, the Acolyte. We're jumping over to the Acolyte. The showrunners for the Acolyte are making the case that so review bombing has been something that's been happening to the Acolyte, and I'm not even convinced that it's review bombing so much as it is just
Honesty.
honesty. And we reviewed the numbers last week when we were looking
Was
at the
14%?
Yeah, we were looking at the numbers. Yeah, it was at 14% on Rotten Tomatoes, but when we were looking at the numbers last week, it looked like there was an intense amount of 10 out of 10s and a very big amount of 1s out of 10s.
Yep.
But if you dismissed both of those categories, 2 against 9 was still crazy different.
Yep.
Yeah, there was still far more 2 out of 10s, and those, I think the 2s, 3s, and if you get rid of the 1s and the 10s, you're getting a lot more honest feedback, I think, but it's still such a huge difference in the reviews that you're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's review bombed both ways, positively and negatively.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the critic score, it's like, what, 90 something or whatever? And
It was quite that high, but yeah, it was definitely higher than it should be. It
Yeah.
was in the 80s, I think.
whenever I look at Rotten Tomatoes, I just look at the audience score. It's like,
So do
oh,
I.
you're probably
I
in the same
don't even-
headspace that I am.
Yeah. So Leslie Headlamp, Harvey Weinstein's former secretary, is actually claiming that review bombing is, I think she said, over. It's done. Like, you can do it, but it's not affecting how Disney is interacting with their shows and with their creative projects. I don't believe that that's true. I think that they're lying again.
I do. I think Disney doesn't give a fuck about reviews. It's just the money and subscriptions you bring in at Disney Plus.
Sure, but this show is the lowest rated Disney project that I've heard of, and it's it's not getting a second season. It's not.
Do you? I found out what the most watched Disney Plus show was.
What was
Most
that?
watched and like subscribed to, quote unquote. whatever
RuPaul's
that
Drag
means.
Race.
It was She-Hulk, actually.
No way.
Yep. According to the people at Disney, or not like
Okay.
no, not like they put
Okay.
it out as a public statement, but like the internals at Disney are like, yeah, that was the best doing show.
I don't know how that could So, okay. Assuming that it's just an absolute fact and that's what it is, I don't understand how that was possible. That's really weird to me that She-Hulk would be the one to break out of the mold.
Yeah, you think it'd have been like the early ones, like WandaVision or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Loki, because that's the only one that got a
Loki
season
would have
2.
been my guess. That's what I was thinking.
Loki or even any
Yeah.
like Loki or even this show or a Star Wars project. Like Disney's highest performance is still like trash. Like
Yeah.
on the average, it's still like a horrible project
Oh, yeah,
with a
the
horrible
That's
story.
why my guess would have been Loki because that got huge. I didn't watch it. I wish I kind of did, but I kind of stepped off Marvel after Endgame. But
I'm in the same boat.
I've
where
heard really good things about Loki.
I have too. Like I've heard really good things about Loki. First off,
I haven't.
You've heard no one sing its praises. Like no one said a good thing about it.
Not really, no.
I mean, I'm not saying the reviewers have. Like, and honestly, Loki kind of slipped under the radar. I think it got like a few public addresses from like the types of YouTubers we follow, but I think for the most part, it slipped by.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyone I talk to on a daily basis, I don't think watched it, so.
Yeah,
And
well,
I don't really trust their opinion when it comes to media anyway.
Fair.
They just slip under the radar, I guess. I don't know.
Well, She-Hulk was in the news, heavily in the news because they
Yeah,
were doing.
it was.
They were basically doing the same thing the Acolyte's doing, but just in a more showpiece kind of way rather than a storytelling
Yeah, that one
way.
was a weekly release too, wasn't it? Or
Yeah.
they released chunks at a time or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I'm
'Cause
pretty
I
sure.
remember it was in the news for a while, and if they dropped everything at once, it would have been gone. But
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Slim, what is your take on like the? Do you think that the show, The Acolyte, should have been like binge model, just dumped it all, let
It
the
probably would have done better for him.
yeah.
They wouldn't
if
be in the
I was
news this
Disney,
long.
yeah.
It wouldn't have been in the news this long and wouldn't be getting review bombed as bad, I don't think.
Yeah, well, I
think
mean,
it'd be doing better.
you could
for them.
you could overanalyze every episode too. It's
Exactly.
like to really nitpick the shit out of it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Turn-
it's good for us, bad for Disney.
Yeah. Yes, do it more.
Yeah.
Do it.
I just don't think they give a crap
Let's
anymore.
fast track this.
I just don't think they care.
I think that
At Lucasfilm, they don't. They're changing shit at Marvel, though.
I think every time they have that they have someone come in and do a negative review like this, I think it does affect their internal workings in a sense that like the audience is your dollar. Like the people are not following Star Wars anymore. This show is actually taking people out of Star Wars. It's doing what we all kind of expected it to do. I mean, it's really showing people like in bold letters Disney does not give a shit about Star Wars. They don't give a shit about the storytelling. They don't give a shit about the universe. Everything in this project is meant to twist, manipulate, and just completely revert everything in Star Wars from its original purpose and messaging. And you know what? That's their hill to die on. That's perfectly fine. But the audience isn't here for it. You have all of the like the marketing material, the merchandising that they've wanted to push with this show, and it's falling fucking flat. They
I think the whole goal is to just destroy it enough to where they can remake the OT.
Yeah.
They want to get to remaking the OT because those are the big name characters, and they're just going to
Yeah.
recast and instead of make their own stuff because their own
can't-
stuff it's too hard.
The old, and I do like the old trilogy, but like, man, they are set in their ways. I do not think
No,
remaking that is gonna go well, even if they do a good job.
might start a riot.
Even if they do a really, really good job, I don't think it's gonna go over well.
What do you think the
You'd have to wait for like everyone that went to the theaters when those came out
Yes.
died.
You basically do because you cannot. They're gonna remember what it was like, and it's nostalgia. And I've said this before. That's why I like. Maybe it's because I grew up watching this, but the prequel trilogy I like better than the original trilogy, and I think it's nostalgia in both ways.
I think it's the same because I grew up with that one and
Yeah,
then went back.
I
and watched.
went back and I watched the original trilogy. It's not as it's good, but people put it on such a high pedestal,
Yeah.
and I think it's nostalgia. And I probably do the same with the prequels. But that same mindset, it's going to be when if they remake it and they go into it, it's going to go horrible. People are going to remember what it's like to go to those movies, and they're going to want that. And even if it's good or even better, they're not gonna like it as much.
Yeah, I
It's not gonna
remember.
happen.
We went to
Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, I was gonna
opening
tell that
night.
story.
Yeah.
That
That
was a
is
fun
a
story.
core memory. I'll stay
That's
with me.
such
Now-
a good movie. That's
Yeah.
my favorite, probably Star Wars movie.
It's my favorite too,
Yeah.
but it had. What helped it is it had such a banger opening.
Yeah.
Of just the two ships flying,
It
and then they
is
go
so
down,
good.
and it's a big war. It's fucking
It's
insane.
real good.
Yeah.
They let George cook on that one.
He's cooking. He cooking.
Do you remember like before the project released when they were doing all the publicity to promote the show, Leslie Headlamp, Harvey Weinstein's former secretary, like was
Personal assistant.
personal assistant. Thank you. Personal assistant assisted the shit out of him. Personal assistant was asked, "What was your favorite Star Wars movie? Favorite Star Wars project?" And she said, "I love all the Star Wars."
Yeah, I don't have a favorite.
I love all.
I
of
love
stuff.
all of them.
so
Like, no, everyone always has a preference
well, and
in anything.
Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers like was talking about this in one of the more recent videos he released, where he's like, you're not fandom if you're not like adamantly engaging with like these hypothetical questions. Like, if you get a question like, "What's your favorite Star Wars project or favorite Star Wars movie?" and you just say, "I love all the Star Wars," what kind like you're not.
That
you don't,
says to me basically that you haven't seen all of them.
or you have
Yeah.
no passion for any of
No
it.
passion.
It's like,
I
how
agree
can
with
you?
that.
So like, just to push this question onto like you guys, like Slim, what is your favorite Star Wars? And we can broaden it up. We can say like, what's your favorite Star Wars project? Not necessarily movie, but like, what's your favorite
Star
project
Wars
in total?
thing.
Yeah,
The thing.
is it Lego Star Wars?
Yeah, of course. I would say I'm not gonna say Revenge of the Sith because that's just is clear my favorite. But
Low-hanging fruit?
It is.
Yeah.
So I would say like kind of the next couple things would be I really like the animated series. The
That-
Clone Wars and the Bad Batch are probably a couple of my favorite things. Just so much character development, and they really brought alive the war. of
Yeah.
it. So I really like that. And then the Phantom Menace I really like too, just because of
My
Darth
answer-
Maul and the Duel of Fates.
Yeah, true.
It's so good.
My answer might change your mind. I'm gonna go with the KOTOR 1 and 2 and the Old Republic stuff.
Okay.
That's my favorite
You're,
era.
that's good too. I love KOTOR.
I
I
love the
beat
Old
that
Republic.
game like 6 times. I really like that game.
I know
Yeah,
that.
I've been
So
playing
good.
the shit out of
So good.
the Old Republic, the MMO one right now. It's I got to figure out how to see how many hours I have in that game because I bet it's thousands.
Well, it's you buy it. You got it on Steam, right?
nope,
No.
bought it straight from the website.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how you would find that out then.
Right.
For
But I mean, movie Revenge of the Sith. The best made movie though is Empire Strikes Back.
That's a good one too. That's probably my second or third favorite movie because it's the Revenge of the Sith, the Phantom Menace, and then the Empire Strikes Back are all up there. for
I've probably
me.
seen Clone Wars the most though, but it's not even close to.
It's not
So-
as good.
Clone Wars for me feels like a cutscene in the
Uh-huh.
prequel trilogy. It feels like a cutscene in the sense that like all of the story could be summarized into a paragraph, which
Kinda, yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's like Anakin is like secretly in love with Padme, and meanwhile this war starts.
Meanwhile,
I'm probably being
Yeah.
a little bit unreasonable considering. I mean, you could probably do that with all of the Star Wars,
You
but
could, but I really wish they went more in depth on Count Dooku. He has such an awesome backstory
Yeah.
in the animated series, and then he got his own thing in the Jedi Tales. The
Tales of the Jedi.
Tales of the Jedi. And
Yeah.
gosh, he has such
Back when he was still
so
a Jedi
interesting.
And,
He's like, I just
Qui-Gon's
want the
master.
best for the Order, and I can see how corrupt they are, and it's just so interesting.
yeah, and he's just fighting for other planets' freedom.
Yeah,
I think
And it's he had so many good valid points. I wish they went more back on it.
Count Dooku did nothing wrong.
No,
Count Dooku.
no.
Yeah,
He had
I'm
a
with
great
it 100%.
mindset, and like he was kind of correct. He just
Stumbled
went on
upon
a
the way.
bad way.
Well, and he never
That's what
became
happens when
a,
you're buddies with the Dark Lord.
Yeah,
well, and he never became like a full Sith, like
No.
in the sense that
No.
like he turned completely to the dark side. His eyes turn yellow, and he becomes like
There's
fully
one
engulfed in
scene.
the.
one scene in the animated where
I
his
remember
eyes
that.
turned yellow.
Yeah, I didn't catch that.
So he was fighting Anakin when like Jabba the Hutt, they stole his son. So there's like this whole mission, and then Anakin got the son from him and gave him to Ahsoka, and he got away, and then he got like super pissed. And the only time his eyes turned yellow is because he went like on a full, because his lightsaber style is defensive and like an art form. He's like style 5 or something. I forget.
Yeah, that's how to keep
but
track of him.
he went on full just attack, and it was really cool to watch. And it's the
Yeah.
only time in canon where his eyes turned yellow.
He's one of my favorite characters.
So good.
When it comes to Star Wars projects, I would probably say like Phantom Menace in my mind is really just an awesome piece of like the Star Wars universe. I get pushback on this one, but I would remove the entire 30 minutes of pod racing.
Oh,
Like,
I agree.
That 30-minute
Spends
chunk.
a long time on
It's
it.
too much.
Well, I ran the numbers. It's almost exactly 30 minutes.
It's even like, not to like get off that subject, but in the new trilogy, just as bad. Get rid of that race scene. Who
Yeah.
cares?
It's like I don't think we need this. I don't think NASCAR plus Star Wars is really a crossover that we can get.
Well, make it 10 minutes. That's fine.
Right.
Half hours.
Yeah,
I mean, in KOTOR 1, you can go on this whole racing circuit.
yeah.
Yeah.
But in
I remember that.
But in the
Fun.
Phantom Menace, I've made this point before on the channel where I think like some of the best directing of almost any film comes in the story of the Phantom Menace when
In
you
the
have
climax, yeah.
in the climax where you have the Duel
Yep.
of the Fates, the battle of the
So
battle
good.
for Naboo, the battle for the palace, and the Anakin over
space.
in
There's
space.
4 fights going on at one
Simultaneously, perfectly. I don't know if
Choreographed.
choreographed is the right word. I think
I
it
would.
is, but yeah, you have it perfectly
Very well
synchronized
done.
between all these moments. Every one of them is getting their due, and you have like a major character. Jar Jar Binks, maybe arguably not a major character.
I would say one of the
But
most important characters
the
in all
reason-
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Misa
The
agrees.
reason that works so well too is because it's so smartly directed, because every scene is so different. There's space, there's a palace, there's an open grass field, and then there's like a reactor.
Right.
None of them look alike. So even if you don't know Star Wars that well, you can follow it
Well,
a bit better.
And in the Acolyte, to tie it back to the Acolyte, every scene in the Acolyte looks like it's shot in the same exact place. Like you have desert, you have like urban desert city, dark forest, mountain, or cliffs by a pond.
Yeah.
Like you have cliffs
It's
by a
so
pond.
tough
It's
to tell.
They reuse a bunch of shit,
do.
which I don't even know why it costs $180 million and $22 million an episode.
I was watching a review guy, and he's like, well, how's this cost so much money if every scene is shot in the same studio?
And nothing happens whatsoever. I'm sick of Disney, like, basically coming up with, like, an idea for an hour-and-a-half movie, or someone coming up with an idea for an hour-and-a-half movie, and it's like, no, we're going to stretch it into 8 episodes, and we're putting it on
8
our
hours.
streaming service. It's like, what the fuck? There's not enough material for this.
There wasn't.
In this last episode, nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
well, we had the sexy pond scene.
Yeah, Asian dude gets naked.
Classic Asian dudes getting naked.
I mean, if I looked like that, I'd probably be naked.
He probably requested it. He's like,
He probably
Take my shirt off for this?
grab a
Come on.
small leaf and hold it over.
He's Asian and he just came out of a cold pond.
It's like it's inside me. It's inside. Retract like
Yeah,
a
but there's
what?
only 2 episodes left, and it's like, what the fuck are they even gonna do? There's
I
gonna
don't
be
know. Give
up.
another flashback scene, which might take a whole episode to get the real story and why the Jedi are bad or whatever,
they bad.
and why Tomlin deleted himself for no reason.
Oh, that's right.
Classic.
I forgot that happened.
Yeah, it's been so long.
Oh my goodness.
It's like 5 weeks ago.
All right, guys. I think it's time to move into the next story. This is actually a playback to last week's conversation when we were discussing Dr. Disrespect. So, obviously, our positions on this are more aligned, but each of us will have our own take on this. I just want to make it clear, we're just having an adult conversation about something that happened. There's no reason to get personal about it in the comments. Your opinion is not is not really taken into consideration that much. We don't value you. No, I'm just kidding. We do. But Dr. Disrespect, some of the updates on this story. Cody, do you want to kind of take on?
Well, I don't know that. You're the one that's barged into my room and was like, hey, did you hear all of this stuff? It's like, I haven't heard anything since the last
I'm
episode.
only giving you the floor because we cut you off last week, and I wasn't sure if there was anything you wanted to clarify from.
Well, the only
that.
thing I got to clarify is context matters.
Context
Yep.
does matter.
Need all of the
We
info.
didn't have all the details, and we've all looked, or at least, I don't know if you did, Cody, but we looked into it a bit more. We got more details out of it, and you're right. Context matters, your intent matters, and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
In the spirit of that, Andrew Schultz, a pretty famous comedian, he's the host of the Flagrant podcast. He's honestly, I found him through his comedy specials that were on YouTube originally. I think the guy's fucking hilarious.
He's really funny.
He was like the first one going off on YouTube Shorts with his comedy and
Yeah.
crowd work stuff.
Yeah, I thought he was awesome. I think he's absolutely hilarious, and I think his takes are actually incredibly reasonable and balanced.
Yep.
I mean, it seems like he can add humor and a heart and complex takes to almost any topic that that comes in front of him, which I really appreciate from podcast hosts. You have plenty of them like us, who are just biased as shit. No, I don't think we are. I think
If you
we
don't
have
like
pretty
the
good
thing
balance.
I like, then fuck you.
Yeah,
get
fuck
fucked.
off, you dumb bitch. But Andrew Schultz calls on Dr. Disrespect to release the messages. Now, obviously, we're talking about the minor scandal that happened over the last week, and there's been some developments over this recent week where it kind of shows that the other actors in this conversation have been acting in bad faith, and it goes a little deeper than we can see. So Andrew calling on the release of the messages is something I think a lot of people want.
Yes.
There might be a legal reason to why he's unable to.
Yeah, there might be something like some proceedings ongoing where no, we're not doing this until this is over.
Well,
But we don't know about.
exactly. So some of the news that broke after we did our podcast last week was that Dr. Disrespect was actually brought up to. So Twitch was following the messages, and Twitch was following the messages going back and forth between Dr. Disrespect and this other individual, and reported Dr. Disrespect to the NCMEC, which is the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. This was actually omitted from the original publication in the Rolling Stone.
I like how it says Twitch reportedly had to alert them. It's like they're holding back, and there's like, fine.
Yeah. I guess.
So so Twitch obviously hosts the messages, and to whatever degree you are obligated to keep those privated or anything. I mean, we've had discussions about Apple like protecting like messages and stuff like that and not letting those go, even though a overt crime happened, or even like terrorism, and Apple still won't give the FBI like access to messages.
Wishy-washy on it though. It like depends on like their political leanings. It's like, oh yeah, we'll give you all the messages to this person,
So-
but we're not going to do that with this person.
The conversation I had with Snipe kind of made it sound like it was more of a hard stance against the FBI. I haven't deep dove
Which I
into
can
those.
agree with.
Yeah, I haven't deep dove into those discussions. Honestly, that's the one thing about Apple that I'm like, okay, you actually mean it when you say private, and debate about the good and bad of that in the comments.
We'll sell it to other companies, but not the government.
Exactly. Fair. Exactly. Now, the important thing from this is that both the writer who did the Rolling Stone article and Twitch both omitted the fact that they did report Dr. Disrespect to this agency, and they found no wrongdoing. They investigated it and they looked over the messages and had no recommendations for prosecution, no recommendation for charges to be filed, nothing. So if that was in the original article, that the government agency responsible for overseeing this type of incident are reporting no wrongdoing or reporting a lack of wrongdoing, then that actually leads into some of the lack of credibility on Twitch's part, because all of this comes from a former Twitch employee, right? That's Slasher is the name of the guy who wrote the Rolling Stone article.
Cool name, bro.
Slasher.
That's his his I'm trying to find in the article his Slasher, also known as Rod Breslow. Rod Breslow, also known as Slasher, was the one who broke the article into Rolling Stone, former Twitch employee.
Oh.
We found out about the report up to the NCMEC from an interview he actually had with another famous YouTuber, Destiny, on his podcast.
That guy's everywhere.
Yeah, he's everywhere. His takes are medium, but he's everywhere.
Medium.
He's medium. He's medium rare. I don't know. I mean, when I heard the news that the quote-unquote minor he was talking to was 17 at the time, my give a shit factor for this story plummeted. I mean, there's a hard line at 18. I understand it. I don't disagree with it, but you're not going to get me to give a shit.
Well, it also depends on the state.
It depends on the state, yeah. So, I mean, consent in some states I think is 16. In other
Gross.
yeah. Let's all rage against. Yeah, take it up with your state senators and congressmen and stuff. Like, if you want to change the age of consent, do it. I don't care. It's your thing. But if in other countries, some countries it's the same or even less. So I'm not saying I disagree with the number that our country has chosen as the age of consent. I'm just saying you're not going to get me to give a shit when, depending on the state, this is literally a non-issue. And we don't even know the context of the messages. That's my biggest frustration. It's like, if I understood the context and the severity of the quote unquote indecency or improper, I don't know, I'd probably be a little bit more on board. But it's not like he's inviting him to a sex dungeon or inviting them to a sex dungeon.
That you know of.
I don't know, right?
No.
Like,
True, we don't know.
we don't know.
Yeah, it's
Come check
you
out
don't
my
want to
basement.
ruin someone's like it's. I think unfortunately his career might ever be over or severely damaged, which I don't agree with, depending on what everyone said. But even so, you should be able to not be marked for life if you know.
Well, one of the more aggressive comments we received on our last video was such that the context be damned. The number is 18. It's below the number. I have a kid and it's unacceptable. Let's take a Sons of Anarchy approach and just kill.
Depending on what they said to each other, if
Exactly.
if they were just talking and then he's like, oh, blah blah, I'm going to this conference. She's like, oh, I'll go there, and he's like, no, or like, you know what I mean? We don't know.
I can't speak to anyone under the age of 18.
And it's like, okay, you shouldn't be private messaging a minor. Understand that, but if he's just wasn't nothing there, then okay, we got to give some leniency.
I even checked
As long as he's
gas
not being
station
gross.
clerks, their ID, to see if they're 18 before I even talk to them.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You can't go to
But
like
he's
a.
private messaging.
You ever
Well, it's
had
a
like
Whisper. I know it's on Whisper, but where you're supposed to be over 18. But
Yes.
yeah, people get through that.
Well,
That's
that's-
two different things, so we got to put that into context.
Right.
But if
Whisper makes it sound creepier. Why do you have
It
to call
does.
your?
Yeah.
it does, I still think it's not excusable. It's inappropriate.
I think
But if he was trying to avoid her, not like really do anything about it, then we don't need to, go up in arms and say throw him in prison for 60 years.
Right.
Let him deal with the fallout, and as long as there's nothing gross happening.
And
Right.
I have a theory. So first off, there's the logical reason why Dr. Disrespect is not engaging with or hasn't engaged with this topic since his post is, well, hold on, let it blow over. Just quiet down, let it blow over,
Yeah,
get past it.
Details out.
He still
and
has he still has like 4 million subscribers on YouTube. He just waits for this to blow over, appeals his monetization ban on YouTube and moves forward. Like that's probably what his advisors are recommending for his publicists are recommending for him to do.
Yeah.
But I think the reason he's probably not engaging with anything after his Twitter post, because his Twitter post was very, very vague on
It had
what.
to be. It's
yeah.
probably in legal
I
stuff
mean, it's
right
hard
now.
to say. Like, if you're completely innocent, you want to get the receipts out as quickly as possible.
Oh,
it's
for
like,
sure.
see, no wrongdoing. I'm good.
Yeah, but in the same vein, if he so there was a Twitch loss. He was banned from Twitch. There was a Twitch lawsuit. Twitch did pay him a shit ton of money, and so we don't know what
The legality of it.
Yeah, we don't know. Like, was this like did you ban me incorrectly? Did you like There's an accusation that a former Twitch employee was the one pretending to be a 17-year-old minor in order to entrap Dr. Disrespect. That's just like speculation and not confirmed. But I mean, you can't. I mean, first off, you have a former Twitch employee absolutely putting him on blast right now, and knowing that the agency responsible for overseeing this found no wrongdoing,
Yeah.
and still putting him on blast anyway. I mean, obviously, some of these former Twitch employees have an axe to grind against Dr. Disrespect.
It's weird.
And if that allegation of like entrapment was legit, and all of that came out in trial and it was litigated and they settled and everything moved forward, part of those large settlements are non-disclosure agreements where you're not allowed to say, look what Twitch actually did to me. Look at what Twitch pulled on me, and look at what they're doing. First off, I think that if there's a reasonable way, if Dr. Disrespect is under a non-compete, or I'm sorry, not a non-compete, but a non-disclosure agreement as per his lawsuit, he should find a way out of that as fast as possible and like give up like put everything forward. But you can, I mean,
Yeah, NDAs can be a bitch.
yeah. So if he's under an NDA, which just by the fact that he had a large scale lawsuit that paid out millions, he probably is.
I would assume so.
Even if it's a non-disclosure agreement that's completely unrelated to what we're talking about, there's probably things about that he can't say. But I think getting it out as quickly as possible would be good. I don't think letting it blow over will be better, but I think he's kind of insulated in his fame. I think he's a big enough creator.
Been around long enough.
Yeah, that if he moved over to Kick or if he moved over to even Rumble,
People would follow him.
him, even if it's half. I mean, let's say his viewership is cut in half. He's still at from 4 million to 2 million.
Yeah.
He's still huge, one of the biggest content creators. And now, honestly, this says a lot to me about like Tim the Tatman and Nick Merckx. Is like,
They immediately bowed out.
yeah, they immediately bowed out. Honestly, like you guys are kind of hard flakes. Like you don't even know the whole story and you're just gone.
Maybe
Unless
they
knew
do.
More. They
Yeah.
could know more.
They could know more, but they aren't saying it, and they
They
wouldn't be
probably
under
can't.
non-disclosures.
Unless there's a current, they know enough where they're part of some sort of trial or some sort of stuff like that, and then they can't.
That it's
They
possible.
get thrown out.
So to summarize, so we got the news that broke about the agency involved. That I don't think they actually cleared him, but they did not push forward They did not push forward with any wrongdoing or charges or anything like that. So that's one thing. Andrew Schultz is obviously a famous enough person that when he's calling for the release of these messages and he's sharing the sentiment that a lot of people want to know, it's like, hey,
We just want to know the truth.
I would love to know before your life is ruined
Yeah.
that we did everything we could to prevent someone's life from being ruined.
Yeah.
And as far as like from my perspective,
I
is
agree with that. Yeah.
I don't know, man. People like a witch hunt, so.
people love a witch hunt, but
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
Dr. In my mind, it's just as likely that none of this is true than all of it is true. Those are equal likelihood to me because it's a Twitch.
Yeah, it could just be a big old witch hunt, and that's why I want that stuff out too. We
Yeah.
don't want to go after this guy. If
It's like back in the day when they were looking for a witch. It's like, all right, we'll throw you in the river, and if you float, you're a witch, and we'll burn you. And if
sink,
you sink, you
you're
weren't a
dead
witch.
Yep. I would just.
It's a win-win for us.
I would swim underwater to the other side of the lake and just sprint, just run, like let the witch get away.
Yeah, come out of the woods to a new fucking town. They'll be like, it's a witch.
She came out of the lake.
It's the lady of the lake.
All right. So the other main story we have, so the other primary story we have for the day is kind of a small one, but it's an update to another story we had talked about previously, where we're talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows. There was a petition that started back in June, on June 19th, where the petition is calling for the cancellation of the Assassin's Creed Shadow game. Mm-hmm. And this guy is Japanese, or he has a Japanese-sounding name.
We're not stereotyping.
Well, it was also in the original petition was in Japanese, and apparently Change.org has a translate feature.
he's Japanese.
Shimizu Toro.
He's Japanese.
Yeah,
Toru.
Shimizu Toru. So the petition goes, recently a lack of historical accuracy and cultural respect for Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is scheduled to be released by game developer Ubisoft, has become a serious problem. The game is about samurai in Japan and ignores the fact that samurai are the upper class of the samurai ignores the fact that that samurai are the upper class of the samurai class and should be Gokujin or nobles who serve them. In fact, Adam Williams, the first European to receive the title samurai, was a man in the service of... Oh, come on.
Tokugawa Ieyasu.
Thank you. As the bannerman of the 250 Koku. In this history, Ubisoft continues to misunderstand the nature and role of the samurai. This is a serious insult to Japanese culture and history and can lead to Asian racism. I love that it's like unique, like it's not racism, it's Asian racism.
Stop Asian hate.
Stop Asian hate. Come on, guys.
Come on,
Stop
Ubi.
doing it. Don't do it. Stop being Asian
No,
racist.
He's clearly and justifiably so upset that they're misrepresenting his culture. And yeah, I mean, what was wrong with accurately following if you're going to put
Well,
in
'cause
that state following that?
It's Ubisoft, and they don't need to hire out to Sweet Baby Inc. or Black Girl Gamers because they have their own internal woke system.
Oh, that's nice.
And so they
convenient.
found out this dude lived, and they're like, all right, we'll just make him.
Gold mine.
Yeah, it's like so like West woke developers don't have a problem with this game, and the Japanese market does have a problem with this game. Ghost of Tsushima came out in 2019, and the Western market is like, oh, this is racist. It's made by white developers and whatnot, but this sold over huge in Japan. The Japanese love that game. It didn't matter that it was made by some white
Yeah,
people.
who cares who it's made by as long as it's accurately represented?
Yeah, it was accurate and it was a good ass game.
Yeah.
So basically, they're calling on.
And why are you a samurai in a Assassin's Creed game? You should be a ninja.
That's what the chick is.
You should be a shinobi.
Yeah,
you should both be a
Chick's
shinobi.
a ninja.
a Shinobi would be badass. I've seen Naruto. I know what that means.
And yeah, ninja.
Jiu-jitsu. So the calls for the cancellation of the game were only a few days ago at like 45,000 and change. And then yesterday, or not yesterday, but the day before yesterday, it broke to 50,000, and
Jesus.
it's already at 64,000. I think
6,000 people signed it today.
yeah. So once this video is cut down and edited, I will make sure to link the petition into the description of the video. So make sure if you're seeing this to
Oh,
go
we can
check
get
there.
10,000 easy.
Yeah. Oh, we're huge.
With the poll we got, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're kind of a big deal.
I know a guy.
But anyway, if you want to sign the petition, call for the cancellation, go check the description. It should be there.
Which isn't going to happen. It's just, it's just getting your voice out there.
Yeah, I mean,
it's too late. The game's basically
it's pretty much done.
Yeah, it's
probably
coming
done.
out in a couple months. or
They came
whatever.
out with gameplay.
I didn't check
it's
it out.
over.
It probably
I
doesn't
looked
look.
at it. It actually doesn't look horrible.
Yeah, because they kind of went back to more Assassin's Creed stuff and Mirage.
Yeah, it seems like, and obviously, but the samurai, there's two characters. You play one of each. It seems like the girl side is more the assassin side of it, and the samurai is like basically pure. It looked like that one game you guys play with
For Honor?
Oh,
Yeah.
It looked like that a little bit.
Well, For Honor is Ubisoft, isn't it?
Well, probably,
Yeah.
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 So it really looked like that kind of gameplay. except
First
for
off, For Honor has the best like sword and shield mechanics of any
does.
game
It's
in
very
my
good.
mind, bar none. I think that the mechanics in that game are just the best.
So the gameplay looked fine, actually.
I would say like the point of this. Okay, so I can't speak for the petitioner, the guy who's calling for the signatures, but I think the significance of this petition is not in whether or not it gets the game canceled.
No.
This is an absolute matter of fact statement that the audience fucking hates you.
Yeah.
Like
you're
like
disrespecting them
yeah.
and their
U-
culture.
Ubisoft can't pretend that people are okay with this.
Mm-hmm.
They can make a game, it can make millions of dollars, it can sell millions of copies, it can be a financial success, but they can't pretend like people aren't pissed about this.
I think it does horrible in Japan.
Yeah,
I
it's-
would think.
Their trailer got ratioed worse in Japan than it did
Oh
here.
my goodness.
Yeah. Well, and
Well, I mean, people have been waiting for this game for like 10, 12 years.
yeah.
They're like, come on, put Assassin's Creed in Japan. And then they do it, and it's like, well, fuck.
Well, and they also
we got what we wanted.
I got Ghost of Tsushima. I'm good.
this will also be the flag that gets born in the next battle against Ubisoft as well, where the next time Ubisoft comes out with a game that's overtly racist, they can't pretend like they're not, because the banner will be waved and we'll say, look, if this gets to 100,000, we'll just round up. We'll round up significantly.
might.
At 6,000 a day and growing attention around it, maybe it will break 100,000. I hope it does. But if it breaks 100,000, they can't pretend like, look, 100,000 people know that you are, as a matter of fact, overtly racist against Asians. You hate Asian people so much that you are willing to, quote unquote, blackwash their culture.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate this timeline we're in.
We're in the wrong
different
timeline.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how it works.
We got swapped over in 2012 when the world was supposed to end. And it was just, no.
We get crossed into a different timeline.
So we have other topics to get into. I just wanted to bring that one up because obviously I think the Assassin's Creed discussion is actually a pretty important one.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
the last one is the first one that I didn't finish. I never finished Mirage. I can only get a couple hours in, and I'm just like, I'm not having a good time.
It's not fun.
It's not fun.
This is not a good time.
All right, I think we have time for a few more stories. So we have time for a few more stories. So I think we're gonna jump into this next story is discussing. Okay, so some context around this topic, but basically the headline goes: Disney executives admit he wants children to see LGBTQ content. And they're obviously pushing for LGBTQ content in all of their storytelling at Disney. Obviously getting far more politically engaged at Disney, which
Hey,
was
it's Talk's uncle
yeah. Wait, what?
or aunt. Depends on what you call them.
Why do you assume that this is my my mother, father's brother, sister? Where did that was interesting.
I don't know. I just wanted to.
You're very.
I just wanted to take a jab.
No, you're a silly boy. You're a very silly man. So the context surrounding this story is that James O'Keefe of O'Keefe Media Group, OMG,
It used to be Project Veritas.
used to be Project Veritas before Project Veritas sold out, and I've heard absolutely nothing from Project Veritas since that broke. Like, not a single project seems to have made it to the headlines ever since they got rid of James O'Keefe. That's a political conversation that maybe we'll expand on in this topic. But the basics. So Slim, you just to know where you're at with this, you are not familiar with James O'Keefe or his works?
No.
Okay, so
Bad with names though. So.
I've been talking the most here. So Cody, do you want to just kind of explain O'Keefe Media Group, like what they kind of do, just the basics?
Well, the basics is like what they just go on dates with employees of companies, and then they just spill all the beans to them in that date. There's so many videos of that too. It's like just asking questions about their job, and then they just keep on digging the deeper and deeper hole. I mean, they go undercover and
It's just like an interviewer.
expose people.
Yeah, so it's
okay.
undercover journalist.
It's almost like catfishing interviewing.
Yeah, they have that.
Nice.
They have like the secret bow tie cameras.
Yeah.
They do.
Okay, so
Fucking crazy.
You know all gays wear bow ties.
So
Well, yeah.
actually,
I do now.
I'll zoom down to see if I can get if there is a single shot of the original article. It doesn't look like there is, but O'Keefe Media Group basically goes on undercover sting operations, and the majority of their content seems to be they go on dates with individuals of authority or higher power executives in sort of different industries. They talk to government agency people all the time, large corporations, and it seems like over the last quarter, James O'Keefe has kind of had his eyes set on Disney, because a lot of they've had more stories break out across from Disney executives saying, "Are you pushing for LGBTQ content? Are you pushing for drag queens in your amusement parks? And are you pushing for all these different types of agendas?" And the obvious came out. Yes, they are. Yeah.
Like, yeah, no shit.
Big fucking surprise that the people at woke Disney are being woke. Wow, shocker. But the main elements
Scroll
of
down. All right, right here. He said,
this story.
yeah, he said, I despise those kind of people that want to accuse Disney of grooming children, but I also want children to see LGBTQ content. Stop jumping around.
I can't. I have to pull it up.
But I also want to see children, or I also want children to see LGBT content. And he's like, don't you agree?
And the reporter
So it's
says,
like, I don't want grooming, but I want children to see
grooming.
Yeah.
I want, well, honestly, the stuff that broke out with like the pride parades this last year were so fucking over the top. Like, honestly, so a lot of companies did not get behind the Pride Month this year. Like Nike didn't get behind it. I didn't see that much. I didn't see anything from Discord. I know Discord's done the rainbow logo before.
Yeah.
I was in a guild in SOTOR, and you log in and they have like a message of the day or whatever. And the message of the day was like having an LGBTQ costume contest thing. And I'm just like, all right, leave guild. I don't need your money.
Yep. It's so Target also like didn't do anything with Pride Month this year. I mean, I think they had like still a Pride sections in some states, but I think they like really were more strategic about where they were placing it to avoid publicity.
Backlash.
Well, they can't
afford it anymore.
They can't afford to keep doing that. If they lose a few billion every time they do that, that's not really something you can pull off. But yeah, so famous drag queens over at Disney are like being spotted out and being called out for Disney trying to do this. Now, Bob Iger is on the record twice now, I believe, saying Disney is not interested in advancing their like this political agenda and they want to focus on being more family friendly oriented with their content.
Didn't he say it's not a political agenda? It's just doing what's right.
I think that's right. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure you're correct.
It's not political. I'm right, and we're gonna make you see it that way.
So I think there's an interesting conversation between Bob Iger and a shareholder where during a company's annual shareholder meeting, Iger was asked by an alleged shareholder, is it possible for Disney to stay out of political and social agenda and just provide entertainment? And Iger says, our job is to entertain first and foremost, and by telling great stories, we continue to have a positive impact on the world and inspire future generations, just as we've done for 100 years. Disney has always been and will continue to be a source of hope, joy, and optimism for people of all ages. And then, in the same breath, decides to push out all of these different like agendas and ideologies into all of the projects. Like, it's not lost on anyone that even the Acolyte is pushing so hard this woke shit.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean it's what they do. It's what they've been doing for 10 years now. So
Yeah. He had such a great comment, and then he put his foot in his mouth. That was really good.
Yeah, I mean,
And
he's,
then he shot himself in the foot.
yeah, that he just won't stop doing it, and it's not even so much that it's on paper at Disney. It's more of a, if you hire enough people of the same ideology, every
Yeah,
action
it just comes out.
every step they take is in the same direction. You don't have to say, you don't have to put out a memo to the entire company saying we're not going to hire white people. You just have to put people in positions who don't want to hire white people, and then they don't do it. And
wasn't
now,
that part of the thing that came out of O'Keefe is that they weren't hiring white people,
Yeah.
and that they were only looking for Jewish people in upper positions.
well, we all know why.
It's like, well, once you have a few of them in upper positions, they're only going to keep hiring.
Yeah, I mean, you hire people, you hire and work with people like you. I think that's just nature. But I'm not saying I support that. I'm just saying, like, honestly, I prefer engaging with people who have like opposing viewpoints
you are
to
very
me.
confrontational. Yes.
Well, what's the point of a conversation with no contest in it? Like, if there's no,
I mean, I have them all the time. It's just the other person doesn't want to kill me afterwards.
I don't know. I would rather like conversations that result in people wanting to kill each other. That sounds
You
like
asked the dude to move his table, and he almost glassed you.
that was fun. That was just a good day. That's a fun story. That's a good story.
Oh, maybe it's like, you know, that chick. It's like, it's not that you said no. It's the way you said no. I think it's the way you say things to people.
Tone policing. I'm getting tone police now. I'm not allowed to tell a guy to fuck off and move his table. Like, we're playing we're playing pool here. You didn't have to have your tables right next to the table. There's a lot of tables in this. Okay, no
table
one who's
filters.
listening understands the context of this fucking story, and I don't think we're gonna get
That's
into
fine.
it. If you want to know, comment, and I'll tell you the story in the comments.
We comment in the comments.
Comment the comment in the comments. We'll comment. All right, so we have, I think, a couple more stories we want to try to get into. This one's going to be a bit more,
This will be quick.
yeah, but it's a bit more intense than I think our average story. So,
Oh, what? Talking about the boys?
well, I don't know what we're even like allowed to say in terms of service on YouTube and stuff. So I don't know that this.
I don't.
We're not monetized.
If you're that
Well, I'm not
scared
going
of
to
this.
go that. It's just basically
It's a-
what the showrunner was saying.
Right, it's just a quote.
Yeah.
But-
I'm not going to give you a step-by-step of that one scene in that house. That,
All right. Fair enough. Let's get into the story. I'm being a little bitch boy about it. Let's
Yeah.
just jump into the fucking story.
Bitch boy.
But this one's yours. Take it away, Cody.
Well, has anyone seen the show, first of all?
Okay, I
Boys?
watched
Yeah.
The Boys.
No.
I watched season
all.
1. Got to the point where, okay, first off,
Heard good things.
yeah, we're on season.
Well, season 1 was really good.
Season 1 was great. There were still plenty of things about it I didn't like. And it's maybe just that I don't enjoy like shows that are just like over the top. Like if you ask me like whether I enjoy like slasher films, I genuinely hate slasher films.
Well, there's no story to them, really.
Right. But I think that the only thing going for The Boys as far as its quality, and, you know, beat me up in the comments, this is my take on it. I think The Boys has great characters. I think the story fucking sucks.
Like, it had great characters.
Yeah. I think the
So you
element.
only watched one, or did you go past that?
I watched season 1, saw the big spoiler, or not the big spoiler, but the big reveal at the end of season 1, and I was like, well, this is fucking stupid. You just took your main character's primary like motivation, and you just subverted it and made it look like he was just beaten, like he just lost. And Homelander not killing what's the character's name again?
Spoilers.
Which one?
The Butch, or
Butch? I think it's Butch.
It's Butch.
is it Butch?
Yeah.
I've seen 3 seasons
Why does
of
that
it, and
sound?
I'm forgetting.
But doesn't that sound wrong?
Isn't
It
The
does
Butcher?
sound wrong.
It sounds
Butcher.
wrong.
No,
Butcher.
Butcher.
Okay, yeah. Okay, Butcher. Yeah. Butcher's
for short.
correct.
I
I
call
haven't
him
seen the
Butch.
show, and I knew.
Okay, so
I've seen
Butcher.
reviews of the seasons.
Yeah.
You just have Butcher like getting defeated. I'm like,
Well, he gets superpowers in 3, which
Right.
kind of defeats the entire point, too.
well, okay. So there was a really good take on how the fall of Walking Dead happened.
I don't need the entire like review of everything. It's just so we can like get this going. I was like asking how much you saw and like.
Sure, fair enough. Okay, fine.
Do you want to go episode by episode and we'll review each one?
No, I was just saying. I was just trying to expand on why I'm not a huge fan of the show. But we can just get
It
to.
got overtly political for me in season 3. And it got really stupid where characters just had insane plot armor.
It's just hard for me to watch the same characters lose over and over and over again. It's the same frustration I have with like Superman as a character where he just wins over and over and over again. I'm like, the show is kind of predictable in the sense that like, sure, Homelander spontaneously kills a character every now and again, and I'm supposed to give a shit, but I don't. So yes, I watched season 1. I fell off. I acknowledge it had good characters, at least as far as I got, but the story just, in my mind, the story of The Boys just absolutely sucks. The showrunners, like, politics bleed through everywhere. People give this show, like, a credit that it's fair to both sides. I'm like, no, it isn't.
Well, that's what they were saying, like, during season 2 and 3. We're making fun of both of you. And then in this one, before the show came out, there was like, yeah, fuck you guys on the right.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right.
So I'm like, even if I was on the left, I probably would have the same mentality of like, you're just not being fair to both sides, and it's just overtly politics plus superheroes plus your own fucking weird, creepy hangups.
Right. But anyway, they're starting to do double standards where apparently Huey gets sexually assaulted by his childhood hero called like Tech Knight or something.
Yeah.
And it's their take on Batman. Or he calls Batman like a fascist and whatever, and his Batcave is like sex dungeon. He's very weird.
That is weird.
But he's like, he's saying something like it's kind of not that you're looking at it a pretty dark way when it's actually, I think it's kind of hilarious that he gets sexually assaulted at his lowest point by his childhood hero.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus, man.
That's messed up.
I'm all for dark humor, but at a certain point.
Yeah, there's a line. That's crossing it.
Well, and honestly, that kind of stuff, and like, you only have like a really fringe minority of people who actually like enjoy when that stuff's on the screen, or when you're like actually saying, and I'm not saying the assault specifically on the screen, but because I didn't obviously see it, but the sentiment of that happening to a character, you're not really winning people over. And I bet he's kind of the guy who walks into a room and says, hey, sexual assault just happened. Isn't that fucking hilarious? Yeah. And no one laughs but him.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have worn that.
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah, Slim's just like, guys, I don't want to do this.
I haven't even heard anyone really talking about this show either on the interwebs.
Well,
I mean, it's been out for a couple weeks now.
Well, okay.
They drop it season by season, or they do episode?
They do episodic releases.
Oh. No, I haven't heard anything about it.
So. The one piece of information I've heard from the story is that Homelander actually can die of old age. Like, he actually does age.
Oh.
And apparently he's got white pubes. I've heard that too. So I don't know.
Fun topic.
Yeah,
I need to learn a lot about these characters.
I can't believe
really weird ways.
I can't believe that now I'm gonna have to watch The Boys in order to fucking talk about this show. I hate this fucking show so much.
They don't got it.
No, I got to.
Let's not talk about it.
I watched The Acolyte so that we could talk about The Acolyte. I watched Halo so that we could talk about Halo. Rings of Power is the only one I didn't actually like fucking survive because I couldn't get through fucking Rings of Power.
I haven't watched either of those, but I know of everything that goes on in them.
I
don't have to watch it to commentate on those things.
I want my own take on it. I want my own take on it. I want maybe a lighter or a more intense take on it based on like my own interpretation of it. It's the Boys itself. I can't fucking stand this story. Like, I hate the characters. I hate everything about the story. I don't think that the take is actually realistic, which is its claim to fame that, look, this is how superheroes would actually behave. I'm like, no.
It's basically making our celebrities into superheroes.
Right.
Essentially.
If Dr. Disrespect can't get away with having secret messages on Twitch, like, these superheroes can't get away with fucking murdering people all the time. Like, constantly. It's like, you're just not going to get it. Like, you're going to be found out. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh on the show, but I think the showrunner is a fucking creep and a weirdo. I don't like him. I don't like his project. I don't think he's phenomenal in any way.
Apparently the comic books are really good. They deviated very heavily away from them.
Yeah, I think okay, so I've made enough of my own perspective on this show, but I would just say that I think the comics are worse. Like,
You've read them?
I've read like breakouts of the comics because there's some content creators on YouTube who will do like like
they'll
breakdowns.
cover a comic and
they'll cover a specific chapter or a specific issue of a comic, and so I'll have like I won't have like the full long running narrative, but they'll have like a single story that happened in the Boys universe and break it down for you. And just the ones I've seen, I'm like, dude, even if the rest of the show is fucking Lord of the Rings, this shit is dog shit. This is horrible. I don't want to fucking watch your creepy like project. This guy's weird. I hate him. I don't like him.
Tell us how you really feel.
I don't like him. He's a weirdo.
did.
He's a fucking creep. If you like The Boys, let me know in the comments why, because you're wrong. All right, I think we have one more story we can get into.
What is the last one here?
The last story that we will get into,
Do we want to?
starting now, in a minute,
Oh,
is this one's gonna be a short one.
more gay shit.
It's more gay shit.
We are basically recapping, Pride Month.
We are recapping. Like, this is what happened. Like, tune in for updates. Okay, so the article head is another round of layoffs hits Xbox and Microsoft as the company fully embraces the woke agenda. So, Microsoft and Xbox, well, first, Microsoft is a shit fucking company. They have monopolies on so many projects, like so many things they have an absolute monopoly on.
And they've just been cutting everything.
Yeah.
Not making good projects, and then when stuff's almost done, they just cancel it. And it's like, no wonder you're not making any money. You buy
Remember
these
that
great
Dragon
studios.
Scale or whatever game that was supposed to come out?
Why do...
Where it's like you had a dragon, and it was like medieval game.
I don't remember that. Sounds like a good
The
time.
name is familiar, but where are you going with that? What do you...
No, it's just another one of their cut,
yeah.
cut games. It's like it was almost finished, and they're just like,
No.
nah.
And then they wonder why no one wants to buy an Xbox. 'Cause they come out with shit exclusives.
I think this is their last Xbox anyway. So.
I think so too. I think they're done.
So Microsoft laying off a shit ton of employees from both Xbox and Microsoft companies. And they really, so you could do one of two things. You can cut the fat in a company like Elon Musk did, where you got rid of 80% of your company in order to make it more efficient and cut down on the bloat. Mm-hmm. Or you could do what Microsoft is doing, which is keep as many of the horrible employees who just push this woke agenda bullshit and get rid of the people who are actually making the projects and doing the fucking work and just keep going. You could keep doubling down and you can keep doubling down over and over again. But the issue with this specific company doing it is that you have, gaming is bigger than, Hollywood.
Wait, this photo says key art for Halo Infinite. So that was made by 343.
Yeah.
That image.
This image specifically is not like it's made by Microsoft, but
Right.
that's but yeah, all of 343 and Halo being a Xbox exclusive property, which they still are, right? There's no
Not yet.
You have it on PC, but you don't have it on PlayStation, right? There's no cross.
I think it'll
Correct.
come sooner than later though.
Yeah, both the PlayStation and Xbox are slowly going over to more PC shit.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about Ghost of Tsushima earlier. That game's from 2019. It just got a PC release this year.
And Ghost of Tsushima was another one that was really relevant when we were talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows, where it was attacked for being
It was made by white developers.
Yeah, it was made by white developers. Yeah. The Xbox layoffs, it's another company going down the drain as far as losing employees. But Microsoft has actually had a policy a while back where they were always going to cut the bottom 10% of performers in their company across a bunch of different divisions.
Bottom 10% performers based on what statistic though?
Well, this is more like the day-to-day office employee at Microsoft. It's
Okay.
the sales team, the tech support, the developer or the development. It's not necessarily culture specific stuff, but it's more across the whole company. The fact that Microsoft is going to continue to embrace the woke agenda stuff is singing its death song.
Yeah. The last Xbox just kind of shit the bed, lost to PS5, and also the scalpers didn't help it at either of them.
Either of them. Yeah, that was horrible.
But my biggest gripe with Xbox, and this is a very selfish gripe, is I got an Xbox Series S. It's the one that can only connect to the internet, no discs, nothing.
I thought you liked it.
And it fucking drops the internet connection every game.
You don't like it?
I was complaining about this for the past 2 days. I only have single player games on that fucking console now.
Yeah, it's
Shit.
Well,
It's a pile
and
of shit.
you were able to get Discord. Were
It's
you
a
able to get?
rectangle white piece of shit.
Were you able to get Discord to work on both consoles now? Or
Yeah,
just...
they work on both.
Okay, so cool.
I forgot that I already had it set up on Xbox somehow.
Yeah, we got Discord on his console, so
I
now
know,
we can
that's
stream.
what I was setting up yesterday too.
I like it. I mean, I like that we're doing the Discord thing. That's better for the streams. But all right, I think that is just about everything we've got to go on today. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the Third Party Podcast. If you enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. Help us grow. Smash the like buttons and share the video out there. Let us know what you guys think of the topics in the comments, and we'll engage with you. And we will see you guys on the next episode. Make sure not to miss out tomorrow when we do the Sunday Slackers live stream. We are going to be playing Makeway.
Expiant?
No,
Oh,
not Rainbow Six Siege, not X
I'd
Defiant.
have to download that game for a 4th time.
No, I think we're going to be playing Makeway with the Triggered Few Media group, so they should be joining us. That should be awesome. Links to some of our other platforms are in the description. Like, join us on Discord, follow us on Instagram and X to find more content, and we will leave it off there. Thank you guys again so much. We love you. Go tell your stories.